Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.
All right, I'm going to be incredibly vulnerable with you guys. This is the Sunday all clergy are afraid to preach because the 4th of July coincides with Sunday. And this is kind of a litmus test time for a lot of people, and they'll say to you, well, your clergy person better preach patriotism. They better talk about the 4th of July because we're Americans. And then there's the other side who's like, we are godly people and we are self-righteous and we don't hang out with that secular stuff and you shouldn't even talk about it at all. Well, you guys know that I usually end up right around here. I take off those people and then I take off those people and then here we are. Because I think it is very, very important that we acknowledge the 4th of July and the history of our nation and who we are as a people, especially at a time like this when there's a lot of different big feelings going on, right? We have a lot of stuff going on in our nation, and patriotism is tricky. And I also think that it is true. The secular world comes underneath our world that we are called to by God. And I think the gospel is important too. So, how are we going to get there? Let's see. One, I think we absorb a false patriotism. And I think that can be a very, very dangerous thing. False patriotism that is flags and 4th of July and fireworks. Okay, I'm going to tick somebody off when I say this, but fireworks are ironic. Okay? We spend a bunch of money going to a communist country, and then we set it on fire here to mimic explosions in war, which terrified dogs and people with PTSD. PTSD was discovered in the military because the horrors of warfare, people. Really? Okay, anyway. Having said that, we have fireworks at our house, so I get it. My dog hates me, but all right. Anyway, side note. So how do we balance a true acknowledge and love of country and of all that our nation has been through, while also acknowledging our God and who we are called to be? And I think it's this. There's eisegesis and exegesis. You didn't think I was going to go there, did you? Okay. Eisegesis is when we take our beliefs, and then we go to the Bible and we flip through it and we prove it. I say, I am a libertarian. I'm not a libertarian. You don't know what I am, do you? No, you don't. And I've worked really, really hard. Some of you think you do, but you don't. And we go through and we find a way to prove it. We're like, see, Jesus says right here. Oh, Leviticus says right here. And that's a heresy, y'all. You don't get to go to the Bible and you don't get to go to God with your preconceived opinions and pin them on God or Christianity or the Bible. That is heresy. And you guys don't hear me talk about heresy very often, but that's a really big one. Then there's something called exegesis. And exegesis is what you and I are supposed to do. We're supposed to go to Scripture, and we're supposed to pray, and we're supposed to get involved in God and really, really absorb that stuff. And when you and I become really absorbed, just drenched in our faith and Scripture and God, would you believe that that will be the lens that you look on other things with? And you will take that and you will go out and see the world differently. Here's the tricky part. When we do that, we see it differently. When I go into Scripture, I might see things a little bit differently than you do. When you go to Scripture, you might see it a little bit differently than your spouse does, or than your kids do, or than your coworker does. But here's the thing. Always, 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 what do we learn from Scripture? Love, justice, grace. Always, always we do those things. So I can't go to my political party, look at all the rules and the things that they say I'm supposed to believe, because they have them, right? We've got all the planks of our things that we're supposed, when you sign on to the big D, you say, I believe these things, right? Does anyone actually believe anything, like all the stuff that their party is into? No, my goodness gracious. That would be horrible if you did. Have you read some of these planks? It's crazy. But when we come to it from a Christian standpoint, from our hearts and our grace and our God that we love, then it will change the way that we look at things. And I will tell you, if you look at the history of the United States, when we are at our greatest, it's because we are looking through a lens of love, progress, justice, grace. That's when we move forward. Not when we drape ourselves in Uncle Sam's and all sorts of weird stuff. It's when we say, we are a people, a huge mix of all sorts of different people with different ideas and different viewpoints and different experiences and different worldviews, different religions, all those different things, different opinions on the different planks of our parties. That is when our nation has been at our best. And I can stand up here and tell you, oh, well, the secular world. No, because the secular world should be impacted by our vision of God, not vice versa. And I think that's what gets us into so much trouble as a church, as a people, because we come at things because in our secular world, we're told that we believe these things. And if you believe these things, it looks like this. And you put this stuff in your yard, and you put this stuff on your car, and you live like this, and you do this, and you do that, right? We've got it backwards. We've got it backwards because it really starts in here and with God. And when we have that connection, when we realize that love and that dependence and that connection, it changes our worldview. And it makes us truly patriotic. It makes us truly change agents in a world that desperately needs us. And that's so very, very important, because here's where the gospel comes in. The disciples don't know what to do. They're confused because Jesus literally sends them out with nothing. They are not equipped. They have nothing. They don't have any money. They don't have any food. They're going into a bunch of people they don't know. They are ill-prepared. They're not equipped for what they're being called to do. You and I are not equipped for what we are called to do. As a people, as a nation, anything. And that is when we are at our best. Because what is the lens that we use? Love, justice, grace, peace. That is our lens. And when the disciples go out with love, justice, grace, and peace, they can make a difference. It doesn't matter if they don't feel equipped. It doesn't matter if they have all the right words or the best memes or whatever. It doesn't matter, because God equips them. And that's what you and I have to hear today. It's not about parties. It's not about patriotism. It's not about this, that, and the other. It's about a love so incredible and so divine that it overflows into the world, that it literally changes the way that you and I see the world, the way you and I interact with the world. That's what we're called to. And I know that's not nearly as fun and festive and exciting, but it's consistent and it's constant, and it moves us forward into a world that's better, that we are called to. Because you and I are not equipped to do what we are called to do. We're not. We don't have the right shoes. We don't have the right tunics. We don't have the best money. We don't have the best cars. We don't have all the stuff that we think we need to have to be the gospel in the world, do we? Because there's a whole long list of what it looks like to proclaim the gospel. My teeth need to be a lot whiter. My Bible needs to be a lot floppier. And my car needs to get worse gas mileage. And be bigger. Bigger. Everything is bigger, right? But it isn't. Because that's not the point. It's not about projecting it to the world. It's about absorbing it from God and sending it forth into the world. And that is our message today. And you can be mad at me for my opinion about fireworks. I get it. It's totally cool. But I want us to look at the world differently. I want us to look at the world the way God looks at the world, the way that God looks at us, not vice versa. We do not look to God the way the world tells us to look to God. We look to the world the way that God tells us to look at the world. And then we terrify all the dogs.
We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays.
And the babies.
Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.